These are my favourite kind of threads to read on Reddit. So I'm on the Path of Exile 2 subreddit, and the thread is called Some Feedback After 120 Hours Played Since Early Access Launch. For reference, I have a Sorceress at level 80 and a Titan at level 77, and I'd like to share my thoughts on some aspects of the game that I feel could use some work. Number 1, it says hasted mobs. They do not work at all in PoE2 combat framework. It's clear that enemies have been designed such that a well-timed and placed dodge roll will allow you to either get a cast in before they follow up or reposition for more breathing room. Hasted mobs move and attack at a rate where when dodged they are immediately point blank and winding up for another attack just as your dodge roll is ending. This just results in having to face tank the enemy and chugging flasks hoping you kill them before they kill you, which is antithetical to the rest of the enemy encounter design. Number 2 says map layout. So many of the maps are narrow corridors such that encounters often devolve to shotgunning or being shotgunned at a single choke point, usually a doorway. This exacerbates the body blocking issue, as if you're not constantly aware of where mobs are coming from, you can easily be dogpiled with little recourse, which feels horrendous. Number 3. Warrior slash Titan. It takes 3 to 5 business days to cast anything. On top of that, most of the nodes of the tree that allow you to scale your damage decrease your attack speed even further. Swapping back and forth between my Sorceress, which is scaling Arcane Surge, and my Titan was really eye-opening. I understand GGG want the warrior to feel chunky and whatnot, but if the warrior is truly going to be that slow, then they need to hit like a damn freight train and have improved defenses. Number 4, Earthquake. 4 seconds default duration before Earthquake does any appreciable damage is an unmitigated disaster. 5, Mind over Matter. Eldritch Battery feel mandatory. Survivability on my Sorceress was a massive issue until I decided to try these 2 keystones. Beforehand, I was stacking life plus energy shield and juicing recharge rate and delay, but it still felt as though my caster was unable to survive with any consistency. Number 6, Ritual, Breach and Delirium. It has become quite apparent that the only way to not get immediately dumpstered when playing these league mechanics is to use a build that GGG ostensibly want to move away from. Upon finishing the campaign and entering maps, there's a solid chance that the first time a lot of people initiate a breach or a ritual, that they'll be immediately swarmed and die. I have a pretty slow PC nowadays and it lags me out whenever this happens as well. The only recourse is to have immediate AoE clear and burst damage to deal with it. There is little to no counterplay, and unless you have a build that can immediately blow everything up, this is also where body blocking is at its absolute worst. Ritual being the worst offender, as the play space is so small. Number 7 says, One Life Maps. This is like one of the biggest things I see on Reddit. Everyone is complaining about One Life Maps. This, I feel, is just overly punishing for what is already a rather punishing game. It feels bad enough to lose 15% XP on death, which I honestly think is too much, but also completely losing the map in the process is honestly one of the biggest quit moments I've ever encountered in my time playing. Punishing does not equal challenging, and this is a very egregious case of that. Number 8, it says accuracy. Now that PoE2 has a very grounded and tactile combat framework, accuracy feels out of place. It feels wrong to have been engaging with an enemy on my Titan, working up their stun gauge, to then bone shatter when he's primed for stun and just miss. Even though I had invested in accuracy and some decks so that the estimated chance to hit was 100%, I understand evasion and accuracy as a defensive layer for the player to invest in for survivability, but with the new combat system framework being built on visual and reactable gameplay to avoid and play around enemies in their toolkit, missing an enemy that I didn't visually miss just feels like a remnant of PoE1 that doesn't belong. I think this is going to be much worse on a warrior kind of playstyle, but I've noticed with my mercenary that when I'm aiming at things, man, it's just so frustrating. I hate when they take my accuracy away from me, or it's like it takes like to the end of the game before you're actually really accurate in RPGs. Can't stand it. Anyway, so that was the Reddit thread. Share your thoughts and feelings. What class and Ascension are you playing? What build are you going? How are you finding it? Blah blah blah. Share some thoughts and feelings down below. Overall though, people are doing all this feedback because they enjoy the game and they want it to get better. So most people have sunk loads of hours into it, more than normal games already. It's only been out a week, so we're definitely onto something here, but like I say, everyone just wants to improve the game. The developers have a great history of actually improving a product over 10 years. So it's looking good, it's feeling good. What's your plans for the rest of December? Blah, blah, blah. Have you got your eyes on the Steam winter sale? Are you going to buy anything? On that note, I made a game. It's called Battle Babes. It's basically Uno but Babes. Go play it if you want. It's on Steam. Love you. Hasta la vista. Peace.